Podcast Network Asia. FirstMetroSec is providing this podcast as a general market commentary. Reference to any specific security, product, or entity do not constitute as an offer or a solicitation of an offer to buy or sell any financial instruments or to participate in any particular trading strategy. The statements, comments, views, or opinions expressed by the hosts are subject to change without notice, and FirstMetroSec is under no obligation to update, amend, change, or correct any of the statements, comments, views, or opinions expressed. The statements, comments, views, and opinions expressed by the guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the view of FirstMetroSec. FirstMetroSec disclaims any liability arising from reliance on or reference to any information obtained in this podcast.
You are listening to First Metro Securities Philippine Stock Market Weekly podcast, where we feature timely and relevant discussions on the Philippine stock market and the economy in the hope of providing you investing and trading guidance. Here's your host.
Hi investors! This is Anjz from First Metro Securities. Welcome back to Market Bites. Today we're talking about Globe Telecom Inc. and why we're keeping a hold call on the stock. We are maintaining our hold call on Globe with target price trimmed to 1,830 pesos. Excluding non-recurring items, we have lowered our net profit forecasts by 14% and 14.2% for FY25F and FY26F, reflecting weakness in the core telco business and ongoing regulatory overhang. Globe's growth outlook remains clouded by heightened competition, the Konektadong Pinoy Act, and potential earnings risk from GCash operator Mint, which constitutes 36% of our Globe valuation, amid discussions surrounding online gaming regulation. Here's what you need to know from the 1H25 earnings. First off, we saw broad-based weakness in the core telco business. Service revenues slipped by about 2% year-on-year, with softer performance across mobile, broadband, and corporate data, largely reflecting weaker customer sentiment. Second, data monetization remains a challenge. Revenues per gigabytes dropped by 5% quarter-on-quarter, despite sequential growth in subscribers, which was up by 1%, and data traffic, which was up by 7%. Third, mobile data revenues got a temporary uptick by 2% quarter-on-quarter, boosted by midterm elections. But this is likely to normalize next quarter, particularly amid inclement weather. Fourth, prepaid fiber continues to show solid momentum. G-Fiber prepaid subscribers grew 37% quarter-on-quarter to 544,000, slightly lifting broadband revenues by 1% quarter-on-quarter. And fifth, Mint made a strong showing. Its contribution more than doubled year-on-year and now accounts for 26% of pre-tax net income, up from 12% in 1H24. Now, let's look at critical data points worth watching. So there's CapEx, which declined 33% year-on-year to 18.9 billion pesos, with management targeting positive free cash flow by end 2025. Next, blended mobile ARPU, or your average revenue per unit, was down 6% year-on-year due to lower ARPUs in the prepaid segment. Lastly, broadband ARPU also slipped 10% year-on-year as prepaid fiber continues to gain traction. So, what would make us turn more positive on Globe? We want to see greater clarity on regulatory issues, particularly around online gambling and the Konektadong Pinoy Act. Also, a more stable competitive environment. Then, stronger and sustained growth in home broadband, especially prepaid fiber. Finally, better data monetization that supports a recovery in mobile revenues. On the flip side, risks we're keeping an eye on include the impact of online gaming regulations on GCash earnings being larger than expected, Konektadong Pinoy Act having passed without major revisions, leading to heightened competition at the expense of incumbents, and higher than expected mobile market share losses, leading to further weakness in mobile revenues. Once again, that's a hold call for Globe with a target price of 1,830 pesos. And that's it for today's podcast. Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at First Metro Securities, and on TikTok at FirstMetroSec for more updates. Thanks for tuning in. Hope this has been helpful.
Thanks for listening to First Metro Securities Philippine Stock Market Weekly podcast. Don't forget to follow us to get first dibs on our new episodes. For more up-to-date market news and info, exclusive content, and the opportunity to connect with your fellow Filipino investors and traders, join facebook.com/groups/FirstMetroSec and be part of the FirstMetroSec family.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia, the hosts of the program, or other programs of the network. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.